What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sleep Atomic, and we're reviewing She-Hulk, episode 6, Just Jen. I like this one. It's very sitcom-y, but it has to take certain turns. But as for She-Hulk, she's doing very regular things, but only like regular from like other types of shows that don't include superheroes. And back when you would try to make your life similar to a show, just maybe buying things or going to certain similar events that your characters in your favorite show would do. And as shows like that are, you can relate to them easily. Sometimes, like, not at all, but like when they're talking about Mr. Immortal, just making me think of like whenever I used to hear about other people's like relationships is like except I would just be like, oh okay, well, like that's not messed up at all, like, cool. But uh, Nikki and Mallory, when you get into it, with the Mister Immortal guy, they say like every possible thing that would make the breakup really bad. I wasn't at the time dealing with divorces with anybody, but what they were saying about them, you could easily take a slice and like reuse it somewhere else, and far easily you could just be thinking it while they're like telling you the story. It's like, whoa, dude, you don't like confrontation, so you died. You literally ghosted him. I guess this case would be like you literally ghosted her and that one guy. Of course, if you're bracing yourself for that kind of conversation now, you'd be like, "Oh, you guys weren't meant for each other." But usually, like when it happens, like nothing like positive, like or uh reassuring pops up in your head. You're just like, "Yeah, well, you are this, or you're doing that, or aren't doing this." Just like standing there while they're like telling other people. Just like, "Oh, okay, well." Try not to make any faces or say anything else that would change their opinion about the person. That more or less leads into what Jen's doing, meeting up with a high school friend and going to her wedding. And she shows up as She Hulk, kind of like how she is against, but she's gotta like do some showing off. Like, I guess being a lawyer wasn't enough. She, with a new dress, rolls up to the, I guess, ceremony area, uh, greeting all her old friends and her friends' new friends, I'm sure. But the bride confronts her and is like, hey, no, can you not do that, please? This is my big day. Just a bunch of, like, non helpful sequential things, like, eventually she finds out, Titania is there, but she gets another bone thrown at her later when she like meets a guy. And the whole time she's like being baited into doing the most attention grabbing stuff ever, even though she's like trying to like not take the attention away from the bride. It's pretty fun to see, not even because of the drama, really. It's just like if one of those things happen, it would make a memorable wedding that you attended. I know these are all like big conflicts if this would happen like in person, like for whoever. I just like the little guided paths that they have, but it's like kind of like comical more or less. And even the length of the episode, it's the old way. It was neither 20-ish minutes or 50-ish minutes for commercials to be in there for it to be the full 30 minutes or the full hour. with the 10-minute hold for commercials and then the credits. There's just something fun about it after seeing stuff like that in there. I think one thing about it, it seems so known. It kind of makes it unique. So whenever it does happen to you, it like doesn't register for some reason because you've acknowledged it so much. So as soon as the opportunity presents itself and you're kind of like not thinking about it, or maybe you are, and you just kind of go like autopilot. Some people will be like, "Oh yeah, like, it happened like just like the show or the movie," and there'd be like little clusters of things happening. It's like, "Oh, whoa, no way, that thing." Just to go back to what's happening in the show, there's like the wedding, and then there's just the fact that there's like a divorce hearing between a guy and like 10 people. A very heavy compare and contrast there. Especially if you like go further and be like, oh, Jen identifies as a lawyer, and then the two lawyers having having to deal with the person, then they have to like stop and like every now and then just be like, it's like really like come on, like I really can't help you here. Like you made up multiple identities as well. All of this says illegal, but I like it because there's this moment later when Jen's talking to Josh that makes me realize like there's no thing for She-Hulk when she pops out. Like Bruce uh turns into the Hulk when he's angry, so that's like his assertive side to make it more normal. And it's definitely not uh her sexual side for She-Hulk because it kind of like crash and burn when she was there and then it kind of is gone. Like it worked, I guess, but now she's talking to Josh. It kind of seems like it's supposed to be like her uh letting her hair down. It almost looks like it's her fun side, but it's definitely like her trying to like let her guard down, especially whenever she's like fighting the wrecking crew in the other episode they show at the beginning of this one. She's like drops her guard and then she doesn't have to like control not hurting people. She's like throws the guy in the air. I don't know how long it takes him to, or how high he goes up and how he like comes down eventually and then like knocks around the other ones. Definitely let loose right there. So I'm not sure what to say about the Smart Hulk for Bruce Banner though. Like I don't know, it's like he's getting it together or like filling his cup. I'm not sure one of these phrases goes with it, but I'm not watching a Incredible Hulk show, so but he was definitely like battling like inner demons and doing all that. But I like how all this like flip flopping, like ideologically, is like eventually Titania confronts Jen, uh, and she's like, "I told you it wasn't over." Like, all right, she's dragging this out, but then she's like, "I'm gonna publicly destroy you," but it's not like humiliation. It's pummeling her with uh fists and harm. Usually nowadays, it's like, I'm gonna put you on the spot, is like base level. But it's kind of like the opposite. I don't know. I just get a kick out of that just because, like, the literary nature of it is, like, kind of, like, ridiculous. you spend all that time like trying to like write stuff into the script and like convey certain things, but she's just like doing it the other way. I guess what I'm saying is like when She-Hulk's fighting as the character she is, it kind of seems more like satirical, just the way it's just like playing out on screen. But it's a lot more than just like making fun of the guy. He's like, "Ooh, look at me, I have super strength. I'm gonna punch this other person." They're like picking up all those like motivating phrases and they're like bringing them to life and then flipping them on their head and playing it out like that. One thing I thought whenever like Titania kind of like owns herself on the ice. One thing I was thinking about is the when you point at someone, like there's fingers pointing back at you or something like that. And I'm sure there's something with the whole reason why she like took the cake with her, but besides the obvious like that takes the cake, it's kind of like a more than a visual representation. It's like a mental like referendum of like the reason why we had any of those phrases. I know it's like kind of like highbrow, and even if you like didn't like see the phrase like as like she was taking the cake, you could at least like you'll at least like snapshot it in your head. And I must say that DJ's like right on point. Like he didn't miss a single beat. He's like, oh, wedding fight. And he turns on the music, and like across from the people who are eventually like videoing the people, like I think that was the better mood. Better move is to get the music ready for the thing that's happening in front of you as it's happening. It's like, yo, that's pretty much the whole episode, but it's again like one of those ones where it's like it seemed like a lot longer. Like, but before the credits roll, the roughest part to present itself to the show with the Intelligencia shows up, and we'll see what the smooth part happens for Jen after that. It seems to be a going trend for her. Something really bad happens, and then something equally good happens. Like, I guess socially, maybe for her. Assumedly, to only just the audience and the intelligentsia, they up the properties of the needle that they tried to get blood from Jen with. They apparently want a lot. There's like 3 really big vials. And Nikki, in her nice car, is trying to leave a voice message to Jen, or with Jen, I think you say. Despite Mallory trying to be the least burdening friend and suggesting that they not tell Jen about the Intelligencia, but it kind of leaves off to where it looks like she won't notice the voicemail for a while, and something immediately might happen next episode. But looks like we will see. About when this was coming out, it was there was a lot of things being said, and then the show says it, a lot of them. So I'm not sure when this lines up to it, but it feels like this is one of those times that was like going along with the internet news. There was at least definitely that one time at the premiere episodes week, Jamil was spray painting all those posters of She-Hulk, as if she wasn't supporting it or something. And the clip just happened to be noticed by a lot of people. But whatever it was, it might have not got picked up because so far into the series, like there was less and less people that understood the general idea that was happening. So you kind of had to actually go find it instead of it just like showing up. This episode's got me apparently very reminiscing, to make up a word. But point is, it looks like they were having fun. But I hope you had enough fun to join me for the 7th episode. But this was Sleep Atomic, and I'm Alistair. And if no one's told you yet, you look good. And it shows.